Okay, so for the directions for this problem, it's 8 point, I don't even know. Oh, 8.2. Haha. I know. 8.2, ready set go number 14, and it says find the coordinates of the midpoint for each line segment. If multiple line segments are given, then give the midpoints of all the segments. So a midpoint is like one of those things that are appropriately named, right? Like backpack. It's a pack that sits on your back, right? This is my computer desk, right? Yeah, bisector really makes sense because bi means two, sect means sections, right? Midpoint makes sense because you know what a mid is. Mid makes you think of middle, and it's a point. It's a point in the middle. Now, not like middle as in like if you're the middle child and there's four children, like as long as you're not the oldest or the youngest, then you're a middle. That's not the middle. In math, like middle actually means like the technical middle, right? Like not like oh, like look, this point is in the middle. No, it's not. Because it's not
Oh boy,
in
half a kid.
huh? Something about half a
Oh
kid.
boy, half a kid.
Oh my gosh. No, the middle child is the child who's in the middle. Not oldest, not youngest. Middle. Kind of like mama bear, papa bear, baby bear, like that. Okay. So, physically you can actually see the middle. Like it looks like it's right here, right? It looks like it's right there. And then I'm going to prove it to you. And I'm going to prove it to you in two different ways. Number one, I'm going to take it logically and just say, like, do you see this little triangle here? Do you see if I draw a congruent triangle to that? The same exact triangle. That is the midpoint. Because those two triangles are exactly the same. Therefore, this guy is in the middle, right? The other way that you could do this is by using the Pythagorean theorem, which is kind of like my favorite way. I know some people like the distance formula, but if I had to pick one and I can never use the other one, I'm gonna pick the Pythagorean theorem. So much more useful. All right, so here goes my my middle. What am I talking about? I'm not using the Pythagorean theorem. What am I talking about? The midpoint. I had like the brain fartiest fart of the, like you guys are like, oh much Johnson, don't ever say fartiest fart. Okay, sorry. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm going to write these coordinates. So -2 comma 1. And then this one is, oh, I know why I was drawing the triangle, not for the Pythagorean theorem. My bad. All right, so 6 comma 3. So, okay, so if I'm going to find the midpoint formula is x plus x divided by 2, y plus y divided by 2. Now, I'm going to put little like numbers on these guys, and it's just to distinguish who they are from. Does that make sense? So, like, pretend we had two Johns in this classroom. We'd be like, hey, John S or John D. Does that make sense? So, this is kind of like, hey, which X do you want me to add? Well, I want you to add X1 and X2, right? Exactly. Everybody okay with that? So then I'm just going to plug in. I'm just going to plug in exactly what I see. So I'm going to plug in -2 comma 1 in my equation, and then I'm going to plug in 6 comma 3 in my equation, and the rest of it is me just doing the math that it tells me to do, right? I just plop them in. Okay, then I simplify. All right, here's me simplifying. I get 4 over 2, which is 2 comma 1 plus 3 is 4 over 2, and that's also 2. So I think this is exactly the point, 2 comma 2. We were right. By speculation, meaning by observing, by looking, by observing, we thought that the point was 2 comma 2. By algebra, we figured out that it's 2 comma 2. And then last but not least, I'm going to show you just one quick way. If you choose to do this way, you do not have to do this way. But I just like giving you options because, that's what I do. Um, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a triangle and I'm going to find the middle of each way, horizontal and vertical. So the middle here would be this guy here. So I'm going to draw a little like And the middle horizontally would be, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 divided by 2 is 4. So do you see how they still line up? So I just gave you 3 ways to prove your midpoint, to find your midpoint, not prove, sorry, to find your midpoint and to be assured like this is correct. Please, when you're finding the midpoint, like actually graph it out. Because if you graph it out and like maybe you were doing math really funny and you're like, oh, this is -4 and then this is -2. But then when you actually graph -2 comma 2, that's this guy over here. Does this point right here look like the midpoint of that segment? No way, Jose. Okay. So the reason why it's no is because he's not even on the segment. In order for you to be a midpoint, you need to be a point on the segment. Am I right? Okay. So here's your formula. That's how you use it. I definitely think that you should verify it and make sure that you don't leave this negative here. Otherwise, people are going to get confused, Miss Johnson. All right. So any questions for me? Thank you for listening.